Welcome to Luke21 Radio, a broadcast explaining biblical prophecy in the tradition of St. Augustine. And now, from Greenville, South Carolina, here's your host, Steve Wood.
Hello, this is Steve Wood, and welcome to Luke 21 as we study biblical prophecy together. And in this episode, we're in the very famous Battle of Armageddon, revealed to us in Revelation chapter 16. And I'm entitling this episode, The Demonically Inspired Battle of Armageddon. Okay, in Revelation 16, it's announcing that the 7 bowls of wrath are about to be poured out on a rebellious and unrepentant world. We saw the seal judgments. We saw the trumpet judgments. We saw there were 7 thunders, although those weren't explained. And now these are the final judgments about to be poured out on the world. And you want to read this entire chapter because a very popular way to interpret the entire book of Revelation is to say most of it refers to things that occurred in the first century. And so when you come to a chapter like Revelation 16, the teachers that hold this view, the first century view, have a lot of explaining to do. Like in this chapter, we find the greatest earthquake in human history. All the great cities of the nations are destroyed. Every island throughout the world vanishes. Worldwide, the mountains are destroyed and disappear. Hail as heavy as 100 pounds pulverize the earth. And finally, the Battle of Armageddon. So, if all those things happened in the first century, go with that interpretation. I think this should give us a little bit of pause. Let me read the text just about that 6th bowl being poured out, the 6th of the 7 bowls, the Battle of Armageddon, starting in Revelation 16:13. And I saw, issuing from the mouth of the dragon, and from the mouth of the beast, and from the mouth of the false prophet, 3 foul spirits, like frogs, for they are demonic spirits, performing signs, who go abroad to the kings of the whole world, to assemble them for battle on the great day of God the Almighty. Behold, I am coming like a thief. Blessed is he who is awake, keeping his garments, that he may not go naked and be seen exposed. And they assembled them at the place which is called in Hebrew Armageddon. Now, we read in verse 14, I think this is very significant, that demonic spirits go out to assemble the kings of the earth for a final battle. This is a suicide battle. You're going to battle God? Good luck. I mean, but this is something that I believe is important to stretch the curtain back a little bit, because demonic spirits hate people, but they love seeing people kill each other in war. And not just at the Battle of Armageddon, but throughout human history, the dark spirits are stirring up war. It's a timeless strategy of the demons. And so it's an ongoing work. And I'll just say this to my friends who are conservative Christians. I consider myself one. But you need to be careful, like I do, not to be influenced by demonically deceived commentators and politicians who relish military conflict. Yes, there are times for national defense, and then there are times of demonically influenced stirring up the nations to kill each other because the demons hate people. Now, that's the hard part of this message, and this is the good part. I am going to make your understanding of the last chapters of the book of Revelation so incredibly easy, you're going to wonder where this has been all your life. If you can remember in your mind 4 things simultaneously, and I trust you can do that, okay, then you are about to gain a clear, simple, easy grasp of how the closing chapters of the book of Revelation fit together. And a lot of so-called experts on YouTube and in books and movies and everything have this kind of like timeline of this event, then that event, this event, then that event, and some of the events are even separated by 1,000 years. So it's a real stretched timeline. Okay, I'm going to give you 4 events that are all talking about the same event. Revelation 16, explicitly, we find the Battle of Armageddon. In Revelation 19, the second half of the chapter, it says Jesus comes to judge and make war. Well, what war would that be? The war in Revelation 16, the Battle of Armageddon. It's talking about the same thing from a different perspective. Revelation 16 tells how the population, the unrepentant population of the earth gets there. Revelation 19 has the perspective of Jesus coming from heaven to earth. Then you get to Revelation 20, perhaps the most misunderstood chapter of the entire book of Revelation. And in Revelation 20, Satan is loosed from his prison. He's bound in prison, and he gathers the nations of the world to battle. Let's see, battle. What's a battle? Oh, that's what you do in war. Revelation 16, Revelation 19, and Revelation 20 are talking about the same Battle of Armageddon. I can go on for ages, but I'm trying to make this as simple as possible because this has been so overcomplicated by so-called experts who truly believe that these events are not connected at all. Particularly, they believe the battle in Revelation 20 is a full 1,000 years after Revelation 19. And it's the same battle. As she just turned the page, it's talking about the same battle, but from a different perspective with a different angle. And so, it's like you get, a football game and you wonder if somebody was inbounds or out of bounds or had full control of the ball. So they have the picture of the player from 3 different angles so you can see the thing in 3D, so to speak. Well, that's what's going on. So Revelation 16, 19, and 20. And now, number 4. Can you keep that in mind? 16, 19, 20, same deal, same war, the war of Armageddon. Now, this is the most confusing bit of all biblical prophecy. And whenever there's a Middle East conflict or Russia gets involved in a conflict, the so-called prophecy experts come out of the woodwork and post either new or rehash old YouTube videos. I mean, tons of them on Ezekiel 38 and 39. And I did this, an AI search. I said, how many YouTubes are there on Ezekiel 38 and 39? This is what I got back. There are a near infinite number of videos and applications to current events using Ezekiel 38 and 39. And said the platform's algorithm heavily favors the imminent, literal, and news-based interpretation. Well, I have a better way than news-based interpretation. It's called a scriptural-based interpretation. And the war described in Ezekiel 38 and 39 involves Gog and Magog. And guess who is involved in the war in Revelation 20? Gog and Magog. And you'll see these specialists get up and do their special 38 and 39 Ezekiel prophecy bit and not mention Revelation 20. And I brought this up to countless people, and they say, well, that's a different Gog and Magog. Really? The context of a war, the context of this definitive conflict, which we call the Battle of Armageddon, involving Gog and Magog, and there's a lot of other things that will correspond between the two passages. Just to make it simple for you, let me repeat. Revelation 16, the Battle of Armageddon. Revelation 19, the second coming of Jesus to judge and make war. Revelation 20, Satan loosed from his prison to gather the nations to war against the saints and God. And 4, Ezekiel 38 and 39 are all talking about the same thing, the Battle of Armageddon. And I'll tell you, you can spill so much ink, and according to chat, a near infinite number of videos on YouTube, and totally, completely miss this. As I say, the number 3, Revelation 20, and number 4, Ezekiel 38 and 39, they separate by 1,000 years, and they're simultaneous. So there you got it. And that is the easiest way to clear the fog as far as what's coming out. And let me just go through here. Like Revelation 19 is very often separated from Revelation 16. Now, in Revelation 16, the chapter begins with the phrase, the 7 bowls of the wrath of God. Okay, that's the context. And even Revelation 15 gave you a little warm-up that the bowls were coming. So in Revelation 19, is this something separate, different, further down the timeline? Well, it says in verse 11 of Revelation 19, I saw heaven open. On a white horse, he who sat upon it is faithful and true. In righteousness, he judges and makes war. I wonder what war that would be. The same one from chapter 16. From his mouth issues a sharp sword. What do you use swords for? Battle, okay? And then it says in closing, Revelation 19, this is the winepress of the fury of the wrath of God Almighty. How did Revelation 16 start? He heard a loud voice from God's temple saying, the 7 bowls of the wrath of God. It's the exact same wording from Revelation 19 to Revelation 16. It's the same context of a battle of the ages, and they're talking about the same thing. It's that simple. And I'm going to maybe catch up a little bit next time, but in Ezekiel, it talks about this very huge slaughter of all those who come against God and how God is going to basically prevail over this ultimate slaughter of those who come against him in the final battle of Armageddon. And Revelation 39 and Revelation 19 are linked up, okay? 1, Revelation 16. 2, Revelation 19. Jesus comes at the second coming to make war with a big sword. Revelation 20. Satan's loose to gather the nations of the world together to war against God. And Ezekiel 38 and 39, with a near infinite number of YouTubes, totally off the wall, is connected to the same battle of Armageddon. And this is pretty important, and I urge you to go back to BibleForCatholics.com. I don't know if you're aware of it, but for every episode of Luke 21, we're preparing a study guide, and particularly so you can have these references. And it's sometimes helpful to see them, to go over this again, because when you have a near infinite number of false, distorted messages where something is simultaneous and they say is separated by 1,000 years, somebody is way, way, way off the mark. And yet these are promoted, particularly in the United States of America, as, quote, Bible prophecy experts. Just note these 4 things fit together. Read these 4 passages where I explain this, and you will find that the war, the battle of Armageddon, is talked about in all 4 passages. I'm Steve Wood, your host. You've been listening to Biblical Prophecy with Luke 21.
Luke 21 is a radio outreach of Family Life Center International. To learn more about biblical prophecy, visit us online at Luke21.com.